Hello everyone, my name is Kyun Park and I prepared a presentation about Huinnyeoul Culture Village, a niche tourist destination in Busan. The name Huinnyeoul is said to mean white waves, so I used a template with the image of the wave. And also I prepared a more interesting presentation by using the photos I took myself. Then I'll get started. This is how the presentation goes. A brief introduction, and why Huinnyeoul Culture Village is special, significances of Huinnyeoul and what it suggests, statistics and literature reviews, and finally, conclusions. First, I'll give you a brief introduction. My group name is Old and New. This group was named after the fact that the village of refugees in the past was reborn as a new tourist destination through urban regeneration projects. Also, it seems to be consistent with my group's name that it is a tourist destination enjoyed by all generations, whether old or new. Next, I will introduce the details of the Huinnyeoul Culture Village. First, let's look at the history of Huinnyeoul Village. In 1950s, the name of Huinnyeoul Village was Isongdo. It means second Songdo because it was located next to Songdo in Busan. It was a shanty town for refugees from the Korean War. And over time, a village community was created in 2010 and neighbors shared their affection through Kukbap Day. And in 2011, the Huinnyeoul Culture Village became a tourist destination through urban regeneration projects. Finally, in 2015, it was selected as a development project by the Ministry of Land, Infrastructure and Transport and has better infrastructure such as a tourist information center. This is a map of Huinnyeoul Culture Village. It's an area where you can walk around. And below is the address of village. And next, I will explain about transportation. I recommend using public transportation because parking is very inconvenient in village. There are two ways to use buses and subways, and only buses. Next, let's look at the specialties. I organized it into three C's. The first C is the coastal road. You can walk on the street while looking at the beautiful coastline. Houses located on steep slopes and the blue sea create an exquisite view. It is also one of the Haean Nurigil designated by the government. The second C is the community. In Huinnyeoul Culture Village, the community has a great meaning. This is because local residents and artists have made it today's unique tourist destination together. Various events are held with local residents and local artists' studios are also located. And the last C is cinema. The movie is indispensable to the popularity of Huinnyeoul Culture Village. There is even a movie archive. Thanks to the unique scenery, it has become the background of various Korean movies. For example, movie The Attorney and Nameless Gangster are famous. Next, I will introduce the attractions of Huinnyeoul Culture Village. There are many places, but I selected two of them. And the first is Jeoryong Coastal Walk. If you walk along this promenade leading to Taejongdae, you can enjoy the wonderful ocean view with gorgeous mountain view. The second is the Huinnyeoul Proposal Stair. It is a stair with romantic drawing. It's a very good place to take pictures. I think it is a must-visit attraction with lovers rather than friends or family. Walking through Huinnyeoul village can be hard and thirsty. So I recommend this cafe. It is named Ether. I remember the coffee was very great and the bread wasn't bad. However, the reason why I recommend this place among various cafes in Huinnyeoul village is because of the view. I think the biggest point of this cafe is that you can enjoy the blue sky and blue ocean at the same time on the rooftop. Next, let's see how this village is coping with COVID-19. I was able to see two aspects. First is a quarantine activity. Public officials were also engaged in quarantine activities, but the most important thing was that local residents organized their own groups and worked hard on quarantine activities. The second is small-scale events. Rather than a large-scale event, I was able to see a variety of small events that followed the quarantine guidelines. At the Halloween 7-day events held last year, various events were held, including discounts for each cafe, making masks, and cosplay quarantine teams. Next, let's look at the significance of the Huinnyeoul Culture Village. I will explain it through three key numbers. First, it is 620,000. Despite the COVID-19 crisis, 620,000 people visited the village. This is a higher number of visitors than other traditional tourist attractions in Busan. The second one is 80%. What I felt while looking around Huinnyeoul village was that there were so many cafes. So I did a survey and then I could see that 80% of the village's facilities are currently operated as cafes. Lastly is 3. After confirming that there are so many cafes, I also looked for how many cultural spaces are left. Surprisingly, there are only 3 left as of 2020. Through these things, one conclusion was drawn. That's gentrification. To put it simply, gentrification is displacement of poor communities by rich outsiders. The number of tourists increased, but only commercial facilities like cafes increased and the original value of art and culture was gradually fading. To be more specific, I looked up related statistical data. First, it is statistics related to land price increase. The official land price of Huinnyeoul village increased by 300% compared to 5 years ago. It has tripled since the development was completed and tourists entered. This rise in land prices has resulted in another bad result. The second statistic shows that it is the outflow of local residents. It is said that 30% of local residents have left the village. I think the reason is not only the rise in land prices, but also the decline in living condition due to the increase of over-tourism. Next, I will review related literature. The title of my literature is Gentrification, Displacement and the Role of Public Investment. It is published in Journal of Planning Literature in 2018. To summarize the contents of this paper, this is how it is. Gentrification creating new economic value, but at the same time displacing existing meanings. And also, displacement takes many different forms, so there is no single solution. Literature's conclusion is that it cannot evaluate negative or positive in business and local neighbors. Finally, is conclusion. Before concluding my opinion, let me introduce one comparable example. It is Gamcheon Culture Village in Busan, which has become a tourist destination through urban regeneration project like Huinnyeoul Village. This village was dealing with gentrification in two ways. First, improvement of living condition. A village company was established through the residents' council, and the residents' living condition was improved with the profits. The second is the self-purification of tourists. It is said that the level of awareness of tourists is improving by using signs indicating that the village is not just a tourist destination, but a home for residents. This is a conclusion I made through statistical analysis, literature review, and the case study of Kamcheon Cultural Village. My suggestion is the sustainable development is the most important thing. There is no absolute way to prevent gentrification because it is an inevitable phenomenon in the principle of the market economy. Therefore, I think it is necessary to improve the living condition of local residents and to inform tourists of etiquette. If these things are achieved, I think sustainable development will be possible that satisfy both tourists and residents. These are my references, and thank you so much for listening to the long presentation. And if you have any questions, I would appreciate if you could send it to the email below. Everyone have a great end of the year. Thank you.